Hey everybody, my name's Ed. Okay, so we're going to do another random comic book review, another walkthrough. This time it's going to be Automatic Kafka, number 4, written by Joe Casey and the artist by Ashley Wood. This is from 2002. Um, Wildstorm Comics. This is basically after, though, Jim Lee had sold Wildstorm to DC Comics, and this is one of their Eye of the Storm releases. I can't remember exactly the whole thing of what that imprint was supposed to mean, other than I think it. Well, no. I was gonna say it was a different from the Wildstorm universe. All those characters with uh, the Authority and Wildcats and stuff like that. But now that I think of it, I want to say they did release like spin-offs of those characters with that whole kind of Eye of the Storm thing going on. So I don't know. Anyway, just to explain the premise of the comic. Basically, as far as I remember, this was originally going to be a pitch that Joe Casey tried to sell to DC for a new Doom Patrol comic book, and DC rejected his original pitch. So then he kind of reworked it into Automatic Kafka, and then it came out under the kind of Wildstorm thing here. Basically, the idea is the main character is Automatic Kafka, and if you look really closely, it's a reworking of Robot Man or whatever. But he's this former superhero from this crazy superhero group. Um, and the team is broken up and so on and so forth. And he has kind of cashed in on his popularity from being a superhero, and now he's like a host of like a game show. I think the whole point of the series is kind of a satire. It's kind of weird and abstract, but it seems like they're poking fun at mass media, consumerism. Superhero comics in general. I think that was the point of it. I read like the first 4 or 5 issues. I didn't read it when it came out. I can't remember how I found out about this because I don't remember it actually being popular or anything like that. But I might have just been looking for other Joe Casey comics and heard about it or read about it or something like that. So I think it went for like 8 or 9 issues. I've read the first 5. I never finished it. Maybe I will someday. I think after issue 5 or so, I just kind of lost the interest or whatever. But we're gonna look at issue 4. Issue 4 is pretty funny though, because and I'm gonna give away all the gags here. It's it takes a break from the main character and everything that goes on, and it follows this other character. And well, just to explain it, basically, like I said, he's a talk show host, or not a talk show host. He's a game show host, and here he is on TV. And this issue follows a former contestant on the show. And just to give away the gag, we realize pretty quickly that this contestant is really the adult Charlie Brown, and that's the whole conceit of the issue. It's Charlie Brown and the gang if they were if they were grown ups or whatever. There's kind of this gag on the cover here. Here's Automatic Kafka. Looks like he's on top of a house that looks like it's flying, and he's got this big scarf on it. Anybody remembers the old Peanuts comic strip? A running gag was Snoopy would always sit on top of his doghouse and pretend to be a World War I flying ace, and he have a big scarf on or whatever. So that's that visual gag. Let's see here. Here's an ad for Castlevania. I've never played this game. Anyway, the title is Little Folks. That was Charles Schultz's original comic strip. Before Peanuts was what we all came to know as Peanuts. It was originally a strip called Little Folks, and that eventually evolved into Peanuts. Um, so anyway, Here's a guy. He's in his lonely hotel room here. He goes home, and here we can see some of the media um, press and things like that that automatic Kafka gets, just from being a celebrity. But anyway, the main guy goes to see a psychiatrist. Okay, in the Peanuts comic strip, another running gag was a character called Lucy. Instead of having a lemonade stand, had a psychiatry stand, and often Charlie Brown would go to see her and ask for advice, and whatnot. Okay, and he's basically talking about his problems. He's having weird dreams. He's lonely. He's this. He's that. And he talks about how he never gets invited to parties and whatnot. Lucy invites him to a party that's going to be taking place at her big fancy house. Meanwhile, before he goes there, though, Charlie Brown and his sister go to see his sister's husband, who's staying at a mental health hospital. And they ask the doctors and people how he's doing. They're like, yeah, he's not really doing so great. And look, it's almost Halloween, and we see this guy wrapped up in a straitjacket, and there's little pumpkins here. So of course that's Linus. Again, another running gag. The whole thing that Linus believed not in Santa Claus, but he believed in the Great Pumpkin. Of course, nobody else in the comic strip believed in the Great Pumpkin, so you figure that's part of his delusion here. Here's Mr. Brown getting ready for the big party. Core this fall. Core the movie. I don't even remember this movie coming out this fall. Paramount Pictures. Yeah, I don't even remember this movie. Okay, so here we are at the party, and here's some guy playing piano. He's only in town for a night, and okay. Oh, here's some Wildstorm news. As for Warren Ellis's Global Frequency, I'm pretty sure they did a pilot. This was going to be a TV show at one point, but it just never got picked up, if I remember correctly. Um, yeah, let's see. What are some of these other comics here? Automatic Kafka, Black Sun. I don't remember that. Generation Gen 13 number two, but I'm pretty sure that's the Chris Claremont version with new characters. The Resistance. I don't remember that. Stormwatch Team Achilles. Maybe we'll talk about Stormwatch Team Achilles one of these days. That's a whole nother thing. Supposedly, there's a whole kind of stolen valor thing going on with the writer of that comic. Thundercrats, The Authority, Star Trek, Danger Girl, Ultimate Collection, America's Best Comics. This is Warren Ellis, or not Warren Ellis, Alan Moore Comics, Promethea, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Tom Strong. All right. Add for more video games. BattleBots. All right. But anyway, getting back to the party, the psychiatrist is saddled up to the piano player, even though they don't mention his name. Obviously, it's Schroeder. There's a model here with red hair. A running gag, another running gag in the Peanuts comic strip was that Charlie Brown had a crush on a mysterious red-haired girl that we almost never saw. I can't even remember if they ever made if they ever presented her in a comic strip or any of cartoons or anything, but usually he would like admire her from afar. So she's here at the party. Here are some of the later characters that were introduced during the late 60s, early 70s. You got Franklin, and there's two women here. This is probably Peppermint Patty and Marcy. Uh, ad for The Sims. Okay, now I'm not too sure here. Here's a guy with black hair, and I'm not 100% certain, but I think this might have been Sherman or Shermy. There was a character called Sherman earlier on in the strip, but I think he was not one of the more popular characters. And I think after a while, Charles Schultz stopped using him as much because people were much more interested in Lucy and Linus and Snoopy and Woodstock and all those people. So anyway, here Charlie Brown has gotten drunk at the bar, and so then he just kind of goes off on everyone and about, oh, look at you, you're so great, you're all so beautiful. I'm always the goat. You guys get invited to everywhere, and he causes a scene. Then he gets thrown out, and when he gets thrown out, he runs into this hobo-looking guy. Of course, that's Pigpen. Now, here's an ad for another comic I never heard of. Warren Ellis, Steve Ralston, Al Gordon, Mac. I don't think I've ever heard of this. All right. Or if I have, I don't remember it. Anyway, here's Charlie Brown having a heart-to-heart with Pigpen. And it's all sort of sad. And he goes home alone. And he's by himself. Oh, here's another thing. You look there. There's a little canary here. A bird has flown into his house and, or flown into the window or, into the window and like inadvertently killed himself. Okay. So obviously that's Woodstock there. Then here's a little dog, right? And then here's Mr. Brown looking at either, I don't know what magazine it's supposed to be. It doesn't have a title on it, but it's obviously People or Rolling Stone or something. Talking about the rich and famous automatic Kafka. And the last page is Mr. Brown writing a letter to the TV show, kind of begging to get back on, obviously hoping that this time things will be different and maybe he can win, and obviously the implication is he kind of wants to go back. So if things come out better, he can go back and impress his old friends and things like that. So, and this there an ad for Ninja Assault, and then another ad for Star Wars. Oh, it's Boba Fett. That's what this is. Okay, I think this is an ad for a game. Yeah, this is an ad for a game. All right. Okay, so then that's it. Thank you very much for watching. You guys have a good day.